I hope you all are having a great day. And, I just feel like sometimes I never know exactly what I'm going to say as I turn the camera on because, like, 99% of the time, I think I'm going to talk about one thing and it turns out to be something completely different. I don't know. Do y'all experience that? Does that happen to you all? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm still vibing with the message I was got, like with villains and boundaries. And, I found like another layer, just like there's also villains, also are catalysts of transformations. I'm just like, that makes so much sense. And it's just like, wow. So, like, I'm getting so much from villains right now. I just think all this is great. And I know, like, yesterday I was talking about, the diamond, the rough, and like the genie in the bottle. And this is I was talking about like what I found on the steps. Doesn't it look like a little genie lamp? Like I found it on the street, and it even still has the thing that I don't even think. Yeah, this is very rusty, and I don't even think I would actually use this to like drink water out of. But I think this would like be like a nice like reminder piece. I have to clean it though. It needs a little buffing and shining. Like I was looking on YouTube, saw like things you do with salts and lemons and other things. And sometimes you just don't know what you're gonna pick up. So and sometimes you don't even know why you pick up certain things. Oh shoot, I have this here. So yeah. So I picked these up this a while ago and I completely forgot what I was gonna do for it because I was like, oh, maybe because they are little things. It's like a rubber thing, and someone's saying, oh, like they're stair covers. And I just got them because I'm like, oh, maybe I could use them on my stairs to keep my stairs clean and stuff like that. And then I got them like, why the hell did I buy this? I mean, I still have to clean it like the stairs anyway. I'm just like, what am I doing? And then I just got like some great ideas. Like, I can put these because I actually got a bunch of them and I got these from my buy nothing group. So yay. So abundance free. Yeah. So I was just like, oh, I can put these in the shelves where I have my shoes because I'm in the process of putting shoes in shoe boxes so it looks neater. As but the shoes we use more regularly, I kind of have like a thing over it. But I'm like, I could totally use this, and because it's like plastic and there's rubber stuff, I can wash this. Like, I don't have to like wipe down things all the time. Like, and I have so many of these, I can just wash them. I'm just like, what else could I use these for? Because I have a lot of these. Like, I think the person I got them for, they were like a super of a building, and they're like, I don't know, they're just giving them away. I don't know the story. I'm just making up a story in my head. And so I'm just like, what else can I use these for? So I'm like thinking, maybe I could have them like in the kitchen, like by like the thing where you wash dishes. uh, Isn't it great that how you sometimes forget certain words that you would think you would know as an adult? Yeah, so I could like put one or two of these like where I wash the dishes, so it's like, oh, there's something soft as I'm washing dishes because I end up washing a lot of dishes because I don't have a dishwasher, so I wash a lot of dishes. And I was thinking, oh, maybe I could also use this like as like um the bath rug mat because I already do have a rug mat. It's actually similar in texture to this. It's almost exactly the same. If I didn't know any better, I would just say this was like a bath rug that was like just in little strips. I was just like, yeah, and they're easy to clean because I don't know about you, like when I've had bath rugs, with the with the with the fabricy things, it's like it gets wet and it smells and so you have to rotate them out. I mean, I still clean them, even like the rubber ones, but since I have so many of these, I have a box full. Like, I don't know, how many do I have in here? I got, okay, I have like 15 in there. I'm just taking a quick look. So I'm like, I could totally use these like around my apartment that I'm not even using them for the intended purpose that I got them from. And I think that's just kind of hilarious because it's like, oh, I'm going to use this for this. It's like, nah, no, ain't happening that way. I think things are just surprising because I actually really thought, oh, maybe I could have water in here. But I'm like, do I really want to clean this? I mean, the outside, I'm confident in cleaning, but it's like the inside, especially like where the spout is. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm still debating that because it's just like, because I know like people say, oh, it's good drinking of copper and stuff like that, but it's like you also have to, clean it and dry it because, rust. But yeah, I know it's a very big thing like in Ayurvedic cultures, and like some people are like, oh, get your copper in, and I'm like, part of me gets up, part of me is just like, I don't know, like I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think about like drinking out of copper cups and teapots, because I don't know, because I've seen lots of people do it, and it's like I also feel like it's too much to maintain that, and I'm like, can I just eat enough foods that have copper in them? I don't know. I think I get majority of my copper from my meats and things like that. And I think there is some with oranges. I'm not sure. I was actually thinking about making my own vitamin C supplements because, like, you have oranges and, like, there's so much nutrition in the peel. Like, there's a lot of nutrition, like, uh, flavonoids and stuff like that. So it's just like maybe I could get extra copper that way. I don't know. Y'all let me know. I'm not an expert in this at all. I mean, when I see people with their copper cups and things, like, it looks fancy, it looks nice. But, going back, it's just like sometimes you pick up stuff and you don't always know what you're going to use it for, or you find a use for it later. And I think life's just interesting like that because it's just like you don't always know why things come together. I mean, you can only, it's easy to like realize, oh, everything was supposed to be the way it was in hindsight. Like, you don't get to know that ahead of time. You can only reflect, like, oh, of course that naturally happened, blah, 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 blah. You can only say in hindsight because it was the past. I want to know if you all had any moments of that where it's like you got something and it's just like, what the hell am I going to use this for? Because there's sometimes I keep gifts for a while because sometimes I'm just like, what am I going to use this for? And I will find a use for them later. Or you just have a different appreciation for them, like socks. I I hated getting socks as a kid. I mean, I don't know what kid really is excited about socks. But as an adult, I'm like, yeah, I need socks. I need clothes. I do make us up sometimes with the super fluffy socks. I don't wear those, even though like they're cute. But I'm like, am I realistically gonna wear the big giant fluffy socks with the little tracky things at the bottom? No. But I just find it so interesting, like how our perception of things changes. Like sometimes things, including people, come to life. It's just like, why am I friends with this person? And then it's like you kind of reevaluate because it's just like, oh, maybe I enjoy their company, or this is just someone I hang out with every like once in a while, and it's cool. And sometimes people surprise you, sometimes in good, sometimes in bad ways. But let's focus on the good ways because sometimes like you don't know someone has your back until like push comes to shove. It's just like, oh, or it's like I had someone who I didn't know because I went to my friend's place because she was having like a gathering. And I'm just like, because, with adult life and 2020 and living in different states, I don't see people as regularly as you used to. So it's just like, oh, so I'm like meeting people and, because like I haven't seen her in a long time. It's like we talk here and there, but it's not like when we first knew each other back in college, you could talk like a couple times a week. So yeah, and it was just so interesting because you feel sometimes you fall out of us like, oh, I want to go because I haven't seen them in so long, but you guys haven't talked in a while. But I met one of her friends or cousin, I don't remember which, and she was like, oh, I heard so much about you, like she like yeah, she was telling me like you were one of the reasons how she got through college. I was just like, what? I was shocked. Like I didn't know I had that like story around me in her mind. I was like, really? I was like, oh, I felt very touched. Like I do think I'm a good friend, but I didn't, just hearing that from someone else, and it was just like, wow. I was just like, you don't know what impact you or someone else necessarily have in your life, and you might not even find out till like years later. Like I know she's definitely a good friend of mine, but I actually had no idea that's how she was telling people about me. And that just felt really sweet. And then, sometimes you come across things where people show their true colors, and it's really more about reflections of themselves versus you. And then sometimes it's appropriate to let certain friendships go. But it's just so interesting why people come in your life. Like, I think no matter what the consequence, whether it's positive or if you're viewing as negative, if you can learn something from the experience, I think it's wonderful. I mean, in this instance with my friend, like, that was just very validating, that I was just like, wow, like, I feel really honored to be your friend because you viewed me in this way that was super supportive to you. I had no idea, like, that kind of impact that I had. And that truly, like, warmed my heart. And versus another case where it was not as positive, I'm just like, okay, I understand, like, where you are in your place right now, and unfortunately that doesn't work for me. So, you know, you know, I want you to do your thing and be happy doing your thing. It's just, it's a season, because not every friendship is meant to last a lifetime, and that's okay. It's not like we are back 1,000 years when we're like living in really small communities, and if you didn't get along with your community, you probably would end up dead, just because small community, you relied on each other so much. Versus nowadays, that's an interesting thing, because it's just like groups a lot groups of people are a lot bigger, but our communities might not always be as big, even though we're surrounded by millions of people. It's so interesting how we can still feel so isolated and out of place, especially living amongst so many. And it's just like, how do we navigate that? And people like will often say, or like sometimes you see on different influences, and people saying, oh, I want a traditional wife, or I want a traditional husband, and stuff like that. And I understand where they're coming from. Like, everyone has like a different point of view, and that's great. I think what would be more beneficial is actually having traditional communities where I believe there was kind of like the social experiment slash study. I don't remember the country. It was either in Russia or somewhere in Eastern Europe. I don't remember. And maybe comment below if you know which study I'm talking about. But it was a study where um, there were a bunch of single moms, and they put a bunch of single moms in this one specific housing. And everyone had chores to do. And you would usually kind of like sometimes be grouped with another mom. So like there were times that they could go to work because someone was there to like clean up the complex and also watch the kids. So like they were able to have a life, but everything wasn't so relied on one person. And I think that kind of concept, I think it should be more than just single moms. I think it should just be communities. Like, one of the many dreams I've had was like, let me just buy a piece of land somewhere with like 5, 6 families, and let's all like take care of it together. But it's just like we're like in a culture in America that it can be very isolating sometimes. Like, you don't see it as much as in some other communities, like Latin communities or African communities and stuff like that. But I'm mostly talking Western American culture because that's what I was raised with. But you know, life would be so much easier. It was also an African American culture more decades ago, not so much as now. But it's like you had the aunties and the uncles help raising you. You had like neighbors like, oh, you could be in trouble. For better or worse, not everyone has the same parental thing, but there was always the consistency that we're going to keep an eye on the children. There's the sense of community that we help each other out. And I feel like lately, the past couple decades, we've been losing that a lot here. And I understand, oh, not everyone's part of your tribe, everyone has different beliefs, but I think there should be some point where we can come together to work together so we don't feel so alone and isolated. Because, when like I was talking to someone, and talking about the concept of like multiple wives or something like that, because we were talking about something from a couple generations ago where that was legal and allowed in like China and stuff like that. And just like, there's some days I wouldn't mind there being a second wife, Because it's like when you have so many kids and you have to do everything by yourself, it's a lot. There's a lot of cleaning and cooking, maintaining, making sure they stay alive. It's a lot. So sometimes it's nice just having like that extra set of hands or two or three just to help out. And there's just this lack of community sometimes that, where we can actually physically come together. Because I don't know about for you, but for me, I know since the whole 2020 thing, people have been more cautious with who they physically interact with. Like, yes, you can interact with a lot of people with Zoom and online, but you kind of miss that element of, you know, in person. And, so I'm going to invite you to think like, how can you maybe bring a little bit more into that? Because, like I had one of my teacher, Debbie Jade, she was just saying, it's like during that time and continuing for a bit where it's just like we need to really focus on family, because again it's so easy to isolate ourselves and drift away from family. And it's like sometimes making that effort, being the first to make that effort is hard. And because we're human, and sometimes we feel like, why should I have to make the effort? Why shouldn't they do it? They're the parent, or they were the one in the wrong, or why don't they love me enough to do that? And it's just like, but why aren't you willing to do that? And that's what I was like moving along. And it's like, do I see my parents every week? No, because physically it's actually hard. But I do make a lot more effort to visit my family and stuff like that. So I don't live close enough where I can be visiting them like every week. But I think you just do what you can and like support one another, just because we all go through hard times, and it's easy for us to sequester ourselves away when we're going through a hard time, because some of us might be afraid of asking for help just because we don't want to seem weak, we don't want to seem pathetic. But sometimes it's just so much to carry. And if you had a best friend, or if you had someone that you knew that was going through all that grief and sorrow, and you knew they didn't come to you, you would feel heartbroken, because you would want to be there for them. So how can you be there for someone else? Wow, this is completely different from what I planned, because I was going a little dig so I'm like, okay, we're going really deep with this one today. Oh man. So yeah, where can you find some tribal roots and connections with people? Because I just maybe the people thing is hard, and I get that. Like, maybe it's your animals, maybe it's your garden. I don't know, like, but it's a way of like building bridges and connections to other beings. Because yes, we are human, we're supposed to interact with one another, but who's to say we can't interact with other creatures, like animals? Like, I love my animals. Like, my animals are precious to me. They are my fur babies and I love them. If I had the opportunity, I would love to hang out with dolphins and whales. I haven't had the opportunity, but I would love that. Just being able to, commune, even though we don't speak the same language, obviously, because we have different vocal apparatuses and things like that. But just there are ways to communicate, whether it's with people or animals or plants. And I'm just, wow, that's just really, I didn't know we were going to go that deep today. Oh, sorry, this just feels so heartfelt for me, because like these are things I've had in my brain for like a long time. But talking with you all, just seeing how it's orchestrating like in this conversation, it's just like, whoa, that just, whew, I feel warm and fuzzy inside. I don't know about you, but I feel warm and fuzzy. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I want to leave it on a high note. So let me know what y'all think, and what are your warm and fuzzy feelings. And I'll see you next time. Bye.